minivan that smelled like fast food and resentment. We were headed to a cousin's wedding in Missouri, but I knew something was off. The way they laughed when I asked for the AUX cord. How Mom kept saying, "This is good for us," while looking anywhere but at me. On the third day somewhere in rural Iowa, we stopped at a rundown gas station. I've been sleeping most of the way, headphones in, pretending to matter less. Dad said to grab a drink and stretch. I didn't bring my phone. Why would I? I just stepped inside, bought a Gatorade, and came back out, and the car was gone. At first, I thought I was blind. I walked up and down the parking lot twice, checked around back behind the pumps, even looked inside a parked RV. Nothing. My mind immediately went, this is a prank. Just a prank. They'd come back around the corner laughing. Except they didn't. 10 minutes turned to 20. A couple in their 40s pulled up and asked if I was okay. Elite. Yeah, I'm waiting for my mom. Then I sat on the curb watching the sun creep lower in the sky. I wasn't even angry at first. I was confused. Then I was embarrassed. Then something worse. Calm. Because the more I thought about it, the more it all made sense. The backhanded comments. The way Belle rolled her eyes when I entered the room. The last family photo. How I was cropped at the edge, smiling like an idiot. They hadn't forgotten me. They planned it. That night, I slept on a bench behind the gas station, wrapped in my hoodie, no phone, no wallet, just one Gatorade bottle, and a vending machine burrito that made me sick. I replayed every moment in my head, trying to find proof that I'd ever been loved. I came up empty. The next morning, I walked 9 miles to the nearest library, asked to use the internet, set up a new email, Googled homeless shelters, typed out a message to myself. You weren't abandoned. You were released. The shelter in Des Moines didn't ask too many questions, just my name, what I had in my pockets, and if I felt safe. I said yes, but I didn't mean it. What I really felt was hollow, like someone had scooped me out and left the skin. I spent 3 weeks there washing dishes at a diner called Griddle and Grind. Mornings were eggs and coffee. Nights were folding donated clothes, checking job boards, trying to stay invisible. A guy named Marcus worked the grill. He was missing 3 fingers and didn't talk much. But when I cut myself slicing lemons, he handed me a Band-Aid and said, "You'll get used to the burn." I didn't realize it was advice. I saved every dollar. Got a prepaid phone from Walgreens. Tracked down the DMV to start the paperwork for a new ID. Nobody knew where I came from, and I stopped offering. Then week 4, my mom emailed me. Subject line, "Please come home. No greeting. Just you were scared." It was a joke that went too far. Your sister misses you. Your dad is sorry. We've all been so worried. I stared at that message for hours. Then I blocked her because worry doesn't come in silence. It doesn't sound like 26 days of nothing. It was never about guilt. They just wanted their secret back. Fast forward 6 months. I'd moved into a small room above a barber shop. Shower down the hall, paper-thin walls, and a window that overlooked the alley. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Every creak in the floorboard felt like progress. I kept working. Eventually became line cook. Marcus taught me how to prep onions without crying. He said, "Use a sharp knife and don't flinch." Funny how much that applies to life. Then came her. Her name was Danny. She came in every Tuesday, ordered the same thing. Pancakes, black coffee, no syrup. She'd read while she ate, didn't say much. One day, she forgot her book. Looked around, bored, and finally asked my name. I told her it was Mark. She smiled and said, "That doesn't suit you. You look more like a survivor." And just like that, the ice cracked. We started talking about books, coffee, old cartoons, not about families. Not yet. A month later, we had our first date, split a pizza. She paid. I didn't argue. By year 1, I'd opened a small savings account. By year 2, Danny and I were sharing a 1-bedroom. She worked retail. I was managing the kitchen. We weren't rich, but we weren't afraid either. We laughed at stupid shows. Burnt pancakes together. Bought a plant we kept killing and replacing, so it looked like it stayed alive. I never told her everything. Not at first. She didn't ask. She just let me be new. Sometimes the kindest thing someone can do does not make you explain your scars. It had been 5 years. 5 years of no contact, no calls, no guilt trips until one day I got notification. LinkedIn. Someone had viewed my profile 27 times in 24 hours. The name Belle Thompson, my sister. I stared at the screen, pulse climbing. Not because I missed her, but because the past doesn't knock politely. It kicks the door down, wearing your last name. 3 days later, the diner's front desk buzzed me. There's family here to see you. I walked out to the counter and nearly dropped my tray. There they were, all three. Dad, Mom, Belle, older, smaller, weaker. Dad's eyes scanned a restaurant like he was appraising it. Mom looked like she hadn't slept in days. Belle looked embarrassed. They said they were just passing through. Said they wanted to talk. Said they missed me. I told them to sit. They spun their story about how they regretted everything. How it had been a joke gone too far. How they searched everywhere. How they left 100 plus voicemails. Then they dropped the real reason. Dad was sick. The family store had gone under. Mom needed surgery. Belle was unemployed. They needed help. Alone. $15,000. Just until things stabilized. I didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't argue. I just asked Dad one question. Do you remember what you said to me the night before you left me at that gas station? He blinked. No. You said, maybe you'll finally grow a spine without us. I went to the office, came back, handed him an envelope. Inside was a check for $46.25. He looked confused. What the hell is this? The cost of a Greyhound ticket from that gas station back to our town in 2009, adjusted for inflation. Dad went red, stood up, started shouting, called me ungrateful, selfish, said I owed them. That family forgives. I stood my ground. You're not my family. You're just the people who left me. Mom started crying. Belle looked away. None of them denied it. They left. Dad threw the check at the floor like it would explode. I locked the front door behind them and exhaled for the first time in years. That night, Danny and I ate takeout on the floor of our tiny apartment. She asked if I was okay. I nodded, and I meant it because for the first time, I wasn't trying to earn love. I wasn't running toward people who ran from me. I was home. 3 years later, I married Danny. We bought a small house with a backyard and a broken fence we never got around to fixing. We had a son, then a daughter. I named her Hope. Sometimes I still think about that gas station, about who I was before they left. A scared, quiet kid waiting to be rescued. But no one came, so I became my own rescue. That's the thing about revenge. It doesn't always look like shouting matches or courtrooms. Sometimes the best revenge is living a life they never imagined you could and never inviting them into it. That it didn't show up again. Not for years, not for holidays, not even when my daughter was born. And I didn't wait for them either. Because when you stop expecting an apology, you also stop bleeding for one. Danny and I built a rhythm. Saturday pancakes, always a little burnt. Cheap wine on the couch after the kids went to bed,